Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to this foundational episode of Zenflux Abundance. Are you ready to unlock a profound sense of inner peace, reclaim your vibrant energy, and finally align your life with genuine abundance? If you've ever felt disconnected, searching for a true vitality, or wondering how to thrive in a world that often drains you, this episode is your starting point. Today, we're diving into essential principles that bridge spiritual wisdom with tangible well-being, offering you a path to holistic transformation. My name is Eduardo, and the journey to creating Zenflux Abundance was deeply personal for me. It's a journey that led me from the depths of crack cocaine and marijuana addiction, from a place where conventional help felt distant and irrelevant, to embracing what I now call Scientific Sannyas. This isn't just my story, it's the raw, unedited truth of how I discovered that true healing and lasting abundance come from integrating every part of ourselves. We'll explore why a purely spiritual path wasn't enough to sustain me in the modern world, and why I believe true Zen in the 21st century demands that we address everything from our mindset and emotional healing to the crucial role of mineral balancing and detoxification. This episode is an invitation to understand the why behind Zenflux Abundance, and to see how this integral approach can empower you to create a life of profound inner peace and vibrant outer success. So let's dive deep into the origins of Zenflux Abundance and embrace the power of truly holistic transformation. Welcome to Zenflux Abundance, the podcast dedicated to guiding you beyond conventional limits towards a life of integral well-being and boundless potential. I'm your host, Eduardo, and this is where we explore the powerful synergy between deep inner awareness and the dynamic flow of abundance in all its forms. In every episode, we dive into practical wisdom and transformative insights, blending the profound teachings of Zen or meditation in general with modern, evidence-based, holistic healing. We'll uncover how to cultivate true inner peace, unlock your hidden power, and navigate the complexities of our modern world with resilience and grace, ensuring your body, mind, and spirit are aligned for authentic success. Whether you're seeking clarity, vitality, or a deeper connection to your true self, you've found your sanctuary. Let's begin this journey with Zenflux Abundance. So hello there, beautiful people, in this brand new, beautiful podcast. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Eduardo, and I'm here to speak to you about this great methodology, this great view that I have been developed, and I will be trying to also give you the idea of how I came to understand that I needed this. So, first things first, I apologize since now if I will not be perfect in English grammar. I am Italian, born in Italy, so English is not my first language, but let's get to business. So, Zenflux Abundance, this is the title, we can say, that I have found on this methodology, and it saved my life. I mean, this has been my whole life, literally. So, just to be another thing, sorry, I am going to record this podcast while walking outside. So, if you are going to listen to some noises here and there, don't you worry. It's just the noise. It's not in your environment. It's in my environment. But I'm more than sure that you will focus on the message. Okay, so. So first things first, I have been challenged a lot in my life, and I mean really a lot, both physically, psychologically, and in many other ways, also spiritually somehow. And I think that in the end, the challenges you are facing in your life are worth the effort. And anything that is happening to you in life actually is making you happier if you know how. And I'm here to tell you how I did it, and how maybe you can. So the methodology is called Zenflux. Why? And also abundance is an important thing. Abundance is not just abundance of money, it's not just abundance of career, job, because normally when we speak about abundance, we focus so much on these aspects that are very important aspects, and of course they are inside the methodology, but abundance is a greater thing. You can think about it from this point of view. Normally, when you are following a Zen path, so Zen means you are trying to focus in yourself. The approach that you are having toward life in general is just instead of doing what society is telling you to do, finding a job, etc., you are focusing on yourself and trying to find yourself. This is the approach of Zen. Oh, see the birds, they are saying yes. So in general, this can be like a formal Zen, like for example, they are going to focus on themselves with concentration, actually on their bodies, on their actions, or you can see it in a broader sense, meaning my approach toward life is Zen, meaning that I am seeing I am searching for the deeper meaning in everything. I am very much concerned with the inner, and this can also be. So normally the people that are following this path, and I have been following this path since the very birth, and I am not exaggerating, and I hope that I will have time to speak about it in this episode. Not exaggerating. Normally they tend to leave behind the world, because actually it is very satisfying and you don't need anything else, and that's a given. So just Zenflux without abundance is enough, and everybody knows it. But if you're here listening, you may come to understand that there is more in life than just, finding yourself in your center is everything. The rest, the remaining parts are just periphery, but also the periphery is important, right? So what about if you have so much energy and you are really focused on yourself, but you also are creative, you have ideas, you have creative thoughts, you have something to give, but you are like in this situation in which you would like to go just deep it down inside yourself. While you're going inside yourself, you are witnessing that you are kind of not concerned with the world, and at a certain in another level you really care. This is the abundance part. So the question is it possible to live a Zen life? I like to define it residing in your inner silence, in your inner peace, and at the same time being active, take actions. And of course the answer is yes, and we know it. And for example, there have been some entrepreneurs, great entrepreneurs, and the first one I am thinking about is Michael Singer, of course, the greatest in that sense. He was only concerned with following the flux somehow, and that's a great thing. And he became an entrepreneur. But we can also say, well, okay, it's great, but Michael Singer actually didn't have that in mind. But there are other entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs, for example. If you go and watch Steve Jobs' life, it is like a middle path. He was really concerned about the inner realm, but he also was a creative man. So there are many success stories that can inspire you, and what I am trying to convey you here now, it's a scientific methodology. Now, with scientific, I'm not saying the classic academic meaning of scientific, meaning, peer-reviewed, something that people that are related to psychology, official and conventional researches. I am saying a methodology that is not just working for Steve Jobs or Michael Singer, but for everybody. Okay, so there are 4 main points, and these 4 main points have been inspired in my life by a great master named Osho, that you know about it, the Wild Wild Country documentary. Now, I know that Osho was a controversial figure, and I have to be sincere, I deeply love Osho. I have been studying him for 4 years straight, many years ago, and I don't worship him. I'm not many of his followers, unfortunately, really idealize him and worship him, and this is not the way to go. If you really love someone, you are not going to idealize him or her. But I think that in the realm, and this is a thing that you cannot understand if you did not take your time to really deeply, I'm not saying studying him, you cannot study Osho actually, you just can get it with your heart. If you're trying to analyze it, no way, you're not going to do it. Okay, so getting back to us. This is a vision that the receiving somehow this energy, this loving energy of Osho inspired me too. And of course, not just the loving energy, also the vision. Okay, so I was saying that there are 4 main points. The first 3 have been inspired by Osho himself, but Osho just pointed out the way. I know that when he was alive, he made some experiments on these topics, but I also know that I have been searching a lot, not only on the internet, but also on the Osho Sannyasin. I have been working with my past lives for a lot of time, and I can tell you that in the last life I was a sannyasin of Osho. I think that I died in the 87, something like that. Well, so getting back to the methodology, even if Osho pointed out that I did not have any path, I just had the idea, the central idea, and I have been spending the last 10 years to do it. I have been coming out 13 years ago from a serious period. Now I'm 37. When I was 22, so no, even I was thinking that it was 15 years ago. So even more. I'm not counting the years, from sorry for this noise. From a serious period of drug addiction. I was addicted to crack cocaine, some serious addiction. And then a friend of mine, I was living in South Italy at that time, and she had this book of Osho and said to me, "Oh, I think that you will like this." She was not a follower, she was just, interested in reading something, and from that the enlightenment came to me. It was a period in which I was beginning to think that I wanted to finish, not only to take crack cocaine, but also to take marijuana and even cigarettes. I was, for example, planning in training more, etc. And something inside me told me, you do not need any help. But it wasn't something like dark, like, some closeness, some ego thing. It was a very bright and uplifting situation in which I was completely aware that I was going to make it. And it's a thing that this great inner intuition of myself is a thing that I have been carrying for my whole life. When I was a really young kid, when someone asks me what you are going to do when you will grow up, I would just reply jokingly and happily, like, I am going to change the world. And for me, that was, I was interpreting this feeling with the word of a kid, but it was a bright, clear feeling and uplifting, and that never left me. So I decided to approach all the situation alone. And I am beginning with the classical Osho meditations, and that is the point where I faced and experimented the first part of the methodology. So the methodology is composed by 4 means. The first 3 means, like I was saying, where Osho already spoke about this, and where awareness, so you can call it meditation, hypnosis, and therapies. Now, the fourth that I added, Osho didn't speak about it, is healing. Body healing. Now, Osho spoke about that the body should be healthy, etc., etc. But to be honest, and this is why I'm telling you that I don't worship Osho. Osho did not have a very healthy body. He was chemical sensitive, and with my experience of working even with chemical sensitive people, they have not a quiet mind. They have a very, I can say without any offense, kind of messed up mind, messed up emotions, etc., etc. Osho's mind was not so much sound. In fact, I am more concerned with his consciousness. His consciousness is great. His revolution in the field of meditation is enormous, in my opinion. Since Gautama Siddhartha, we did not have such a revolution consciousness. And still, his mind was a genius mind, but he had some sick parts. And that sickness came from not understanding that modern world is totally different, biochemically speaking, from the ancient world. Toxic metals in the air, toxic metals in the soil, toxic metals in the food, preservatives, in the drugs, even the over-the-counter drugs. You have so full of toxic metals. Just the ancient ways of Ayurveda, etc., etc., is not going to work today. And I have been seeing this a lot of the time. So getting back to me, at my story, so you can understand how I arrived to this. I begin to face the therapies. So of course, as everybody knows, if you go and search on the internet, the first approach that you will have with Osho approaches and meditations, it's dynamic meditations, it's active meditations, dynamic, kundalini, some really cathartic meditations. So when I speak about therapies, I speak about this kind of therapy, not the kind of therapy you are doing with a psychologist. Not that I am against it. It's just I prefer what I call shamanic therapies, which can begin with catharsis, but then they must somehow transform. You cannot just be cathartic thing for whole of your life. And I call this shamanic therapies. You can say using your energy, your psyche energy in order to heal, but you need to do it at a deeper level, not just with your conscious mind. And if you are just focusing on that, just focusing on therapy, it will take a lot of time for you to go from your conscious mind to your subconscious, then your unconscious, but there are ways to do it faster. And this is the methodology, the Zenflux methodology. So how do you do it faster? With another approach, which is called hypnosis. Now, with hypnosis, normally I teach self-hypnosis. I do not hypnotize people, but I teach people how to hypnotize themselves. And using some very, very crafty methodology, they have been working on myself with my intuition, and I would say with my genius for the last 7-8 years, in order for you to create, we can say, a path that is both short, medium, and long term, with steps that are going to be like 3 months long each, but every step's connected one each other. This is the best way to use hypnosis, not just focusing on a goal that you have to reach in 3 months, but a goal that you have to reach in 3 months, and then you continue, you go on reaching this kind of goal. For example, it can be success, it can be and it can be therapy. You can use your hypnosis, your self-hypnosis, to let the therapy, the shamanic therapies, go deeper down inside in a very more smooth and quick way, so that you don't have to lose your energy too much in that. Because using your psyche energy to heal, it's great. It will clear your ground. But the real focus is awareness. So as the central thought of Osho, and also in the real meaning of Zen, and also if you go and look, to the life of Steve Jobs, Michael Singer, etc., etc., my approach is just be focused on finding yourself, on meditation. Your focus should be on your center, and this is the Zen approach. And this is, for me, where it is worth to invest the great majority of your energies. But at the same time, while you are trying to witness everything, so you are trying to witness your thoughts, you are trying to witness your emotion, or at least we can say it's not that you are trying to witness, you are just trying to relax and enjoy everything. And at the same time, you can just watch your periphery change in a more functional way. How? With hypnosis and therapy. So with hypnosis, for example, you can have let's take a big goal, like career. Like, for example, if you are not born in a family with high successful people, or maybe even a dynasty, it's very, very likely that you will have some issue with money, with abundance, etc., etc. So one thing is, I go and read some books, and then I am convinced they need to change. You will have to lose a lot of energy to do that, because your mind is very, very complicated, okay? And of course, as everybody knows, how self-hypnosis and stuff like that help. But the real deal is when you are, you know how to connect periods of self-hypnosis, like first 3 months with the second 3 months, you are first laying a base, and then you are giving you the specific skill that you will need. At the same time, you are focused on awareness, because if you're not focused on awareness, you can bring in your subconscious new ideas, but you cannot take out the old ones. So this is a thing that you do with both awareness, which is the main focus, and therapies, healing therapies, shamanic therapies. And if you do that, then the books that you are reading will not just stay in your conscious mind. They will become your inner reality, and you will have the effect of witnessing. So do not remain entangled, you will be just like Michael Singer and Steve Jobs. You are just witnessing, and you're enjoying everything. You're not obsessing over it, and at the same time, you can witness your functional patterns melt away, and you can do it very easy without taking so much time in your day. But the very big deal. So I am beginning to, while I was recovering, like 3 years after I began meditation, I had some bad experiences with hypnosis. I have been a victim of the bad kind of hypnosis, but they said to me, "Oh wow, that is a great tool. Look at how they managed to mess me up. What if I am going to use it in a good way?" And from that, I have been using it in a good way in every field. But at a certain point, a great intuition came to me and said to me, "Well, this is not psychosomatic anymore. This is not this thing that you are facing. It's not just a matter of energy and ancient patterns. This problem is physical. There is something wrong in your body." And growing up as an autistic child, not too much into the spectrum of the autistic syndrome. Autistic syndrome is a spectrum, But I wasn't just an Asperger. I had also some physical things like difficulty in body coordination, undeveloped muscles, and all the social problems. So this kind of resounded to me a lot, and I have begun my journey into deep healing. Somehow my father is a chief medical doctor in Italy, and I don't know, I didn't want to follow that route, so I focused on alternative medicine. And then, as everybody, I began, to first try the keto diet many years ago. It wasn't mainstream at that time. So and then I began to study the life of tribal people, etc., etc. Then I realized one thing: everything I did following the ancient traditions did not work, until I found that there have been 20 or 30 scientists in the last centuries that, in particular, born in the first part of the 1900s, which were real scientists. I mean, in that time, you have to understand that being a scientist was not a social thing. It's not that you are going to become a doctor so everybody will respect you. In that period of time, you became a doctor because you really care, It's not like nowadays. It's not like after the Second World War, in which, there is a huge business, huge social respect if you should become a doctor, etc., etc. They were real doctors, and I don't want to say that the actual aren't, but I said it. So, jokes aside, they spent all of their lives doing independent researches, but with data. And many of them actually discovered things that in the first part of when they discovered it, in the first time, they were kind of bullied. This is what happened by the medical community. And then after a while, they recognized that they were right, and they adopted. For example, one of them, called Melvin Page, was the first that began to use the hormonal therapies, synthetic hormonal therapy. And everybody said, "Oh, you are crazy. What the fuck are you doing?" And then everybody now use hormones. So what I'm saying is that I would say that the great majority of the real game changer in conventional medicine have been independent scientists did it. And I know because I've studied this a lot. So I focused on studying the work of the scientist. Why the work of the scientist and not the traditional things like Ayurveda, which I was already studying for some years, of course. In particular, the tribal medicine. I have been focusing on the tribal medicine because tribesmen are the most healthy people in the world. Because, as I said nowadays the world is changed at the biochemical level. We are not in a natural world anymore. We are in an alien-like world. So you can be very proficient in meditation, hypnosis, self-hypnosis, etc., and even health aware in caring for your health, but still been struggling with lead poisoning, which are very subtle. The science I'm graduated in, I am a registered mineral balancing practitioner. Mineral balancing is the science of watching the mineral levels in your hairs and understanding from this what is lacking inside your body and how your body is going, meaning your endocrine system, your immune system. It is all related to minerals, because minerals are actually the little bricks that compose matter. If you take the periodic table of chemistry, you can understand it, just take out the gases and the liquids. The solids are minerals, so they are the little atoms. Your enzymes that will decide how smooth your body is functioning are made from the minerals. Your hormones that will decide still how your body is functioning, but also how your mind is functioning, because if you have some unbalanced hormones, you also have unbalanced reactions. Okay, so for example, if you have subtle layers of estrogen, testosterone imbalances, and the great majority of time this cannot be addressed and even diagnosed with the classical medical diagnosis, because they remain at the subtle level, they remain dormant for sometimes even 15 years before you can see something on the medical tests, something that you can see right from the beginning with a hair test, if it is interpreted correctly, because it is a separate science, and you can be the greatest guru on the earth about health, but if you did not study this specific science, which you cannot, because there are no books, there are only schools in which you can learn this, then you will not be able to understand the analysis, and you will read this analysis as they were blood work. So if you know and work with someone that can tell you what is happening and can help you to relate your symptoms with the biochemical patterns that he can read on the analysis, then you can understand what is happening in your body and you can fix it. So as I was saying, many people have problems with copper. Copper has been studied by mineral balancing practitioners. The founder of this science was called Paul Eck, a great scientist. They discovered that copper is very much involved into estrogen. The body makes estrogen from, of course, cholesterol, but also from copper, while it makes testosterone from, of course, cholesterol, good kind of cholesterol, and zinc. Now, zinc and copper are antagonists. And guess what? The great majority of pesticides are made from copper. These are not good forms of copper, but this is a much more complicated thing. Let's just say that all that kind of copper is not a thing that your body can use in a good way, okay? So it actually will begin to create too much estrogen, and copper antagonizes zinc, so you're not going to process the zinc you need for testosterone. And what is the result? You will become anxious, you will have insomnia, even a little insomnia. You can become very touchy. You are not able to cope with your emotions. You become hyper emotional. And another thing that can happen when you have copper imbalances is that you will have obsessive compulsive behavior, in particular sex related, like for example some, I will not say kinks. The kinks, in my opinion, are beautiful, but fetishes. So something that you cannot have sex if you do not engage in something. This is a disturbance, because normally sex is just sharing energy and affection. So if you have that, it is the fault of your biochemistry. These things did not happen in a natural world, okay? Because there were not these big levels of toxic metals and toxic chemicals in the world in the first place, in the air and the soil, etc. And in the second place, the food was so full of the good kind of nutrients, minerals and vitamins. And nowadays, even the best kind of food does not have that level that are needed for the body. So you can meditate and have a good diet and try your best. And even have self-hypnosis, like everything we said. But if you're not fixing the modern issues, you're not going to take out cadmium, lead, aluminum, mercury, arsenic, okay, that in a natural world are not supposed to be there. Meditation can heal you to a certain extent, even help your biochemistry to become better to a certain extent. But after that, what meditation can help you, if you just do meditation, it just will take away the suffering. So your body and your mind, like Osho unfortunately was, because he could not know it. But nowadays we can. And I have made all this Zenflux Abundance just for this. You can absolutely, and this is the message I want you to take home, you can absolutely live a Zen life. You can absolutely live a life full of meaning, full of finding yourself while being in the world, acting in the world, having a healthy body, a healthy relationship with yourself and with the others, but living it in a Zen way. So you will be living this as a surplus, a thing that you enjoy do, but that will not define you. And this is the very, very deep path to freedom. Thanks for listening. Thank you for joining me on this journey into Zenflux Abundance. I truly appreciate you dedicating your time to explore these insights with me. If you resonated with today's episode and want to continue deepening your path to integral well-being, I have something special for you. Head over to the description of this episode or wherever you're listening, and there you will find exclusive opportunities to access valuable free gifts that will be added to from time to time, and also claim your first personal consultation with me at half the price to dive deeper into how Zenflux Abundance can transform your life. Don't miss out these resources designed to empower your growth. All the details are waiting for you in the description. And remember, the path to abundance begins within. I look forward to connecting with you and sharing more wisdom in our next episode of Zenflux Abundance. And may the peace, the ecstasy, and the blessings from the upper realms of your soul arrive deep down into your earth and into your very roots.